Update I-20F. Think my boyfriend, 20N, may have been signing into my social media accounts for more than a year. Original post: I have been dating my boyfriend, 20BM, since September 2017, but we have been seeing each other since June 2016. We are long distance, 6 hours apart by car, and see each other about once a month if we're lucky. We have had a lot of ups and downs, but ultimately we care about each other and just want each other to be our happiest and healthiest. I posted earlier this week about an incident that happened this past weekend where an old friend of mine tried to kiss me. He was drunk and initially tried to kiss me on the mouth. I pulled away and he again tried to kiss my neck, leaving a bruise. I bruise incredibly easily as I have very fair skin and poor circulation. The entire incident lasted no more than a few seconds. I did not expect or want this to happen, and I thought the friend in question knew I had a boyfriend. I actually thought he also had a girlfriend up until he kissed me, so it definitely caught me off guard. Once I firmly expressed to him I wasn't interested and had a boyfriend, he backed off, and the rest of the night went normally. I don't have any plans to hang out with this friend again. The next day my boyfriend was already at work when I woke up, where he has limited access to this phone. I planned to FaceTime him and tell him what happened when he got off work. However, he noticed the bruise on my neck in a Snapchat before I could tell him myself. I hadn't even noticed it was there because, as I said, it was no more than a few seconds, and it didn't occur to me that there could even be a bruise there from so short a time. He called me when he finished work, and I explained what had happened. But by that point he had been stewing over it for over 5 hours and was furious with me. I understand that I shouldn't have put myself in a position where someone thought I would be receptive to a kiss, but I also can't control other people's actions or the past, and I have been trying to earn his trust back since. However, he remains absolutely livid. In other news, for the past few years, my Snapchat account has signed me out constantly on my phone, forcing me to log back into the account sometimes as frequently as multiple times a day. I submitted several maintenance requests to the app, and Monday they notified me that they had sent a customer service email to my spam email account, which I seldom use and hadn't looked at in years. When I signed into the account to view the email, I noticed several other emails from the app over the past year. Most notably, there were a series of emails from August 3 to 6, 2017, informing me that someone had connected to my account on those specific dates from a specific location in a neighboring country. My boyfriend and a few of our mutual friends happened to be on vacation in that exact place on those exact dates. We were not dating at that time. I have confirmed the dates of that trip with someone else who was there. Nobody else on that trip goes to college with my boyfriend or within 75 miles of there. Getting fearful, I went on the Snapchat website and downloaded my data, which basically gives you all the data the company has stored about your account over a certain period. This data included the location history of where my account has been accessed for the last 2 months, with each data point consisting of a date, time, latitude, and longitude of where the account was used. It revealed that dozens of times over the last 2 months, sometimes as often as multiple times in the same day, my account was accessed from where my boyfriend lives. These data points are very specific, 3 decimal points, and correspond to directly over his house, various buildings on his campus, and other places in his college town that he frequents. They all are on dates that I was definitely in my own college town, 400 miles away. You can actually watch me and whomever fight for control of the account, with me signing in 1 hour, then it signing in from his town the next hour, and us going back and forth for a while. The data only goes back 2 months, but the emails and pattern of Snapchat logging me out, which is their attempt at security when you log into an account on one device, it force logs it out on all others, indicate that it has been going on with this level of regularity for over a year. I confronted my boyfriend about this as soon as I found out. He was initially indignant, then horrified once I presented him with all the evidence. He emphatically maintains that it isn't him doing it. He can't provide any other explanations, and his best guess is that he is being framed, although he has no idea by whom. He has said a few times that if I need to find an explanation, he'll let his reputation take the hit, because he loves me that much and hates to see how this is hurting me. He has now also shifted the conversation back to the incident from this weekend and is saying that what point would he have to lie because he thinks I fucked someone else anyways, which he had not told me before that he thought. This is an especially sensitive subject for me because 2 years ago I was most likely hurt by a very close friend. But I have only been able to put together what happened after the fact based on other knowledge. Not having a clear answer or knowing for sure about what happened then absolutely tore me apart and still fucks with me immensely. My boyfriend knows all this and helped me through all the fallout of that. I don't want to believe he would lie to me after seeing how much not knowing what happened there destroyed me. Snapchat is my main method of communication for a lot of my friends, and I save all my direct messages on the app so that I can reference them later. For over a year, someone has been going through my photos, my messages, seeing who I talk to, and watching me without my knowing, and I can't find any other explanations for all the info besides that it was my boyfriend. To not know what happened here will absolutely destroy me, and he knows this. I so desperately want to believe it's anything else, and I want to trust him, like I want him to trust that I didn't sleep with my friend, but I just can't find any answers. My question is, does anyone have any other possible explanations for what could have happened besides the obvious? What should I do now? And how can I convince my boyfriend I didn't sleep with my friend without compromising my feelings here? Now for the update, I posted a few days ago about finding an overwhelming amount of evidence that my boyfriend of 1 year had been signing into my Snapchat account off his phone for over a year, yet when I confronted him about it, he claimed he was being framed. He also accused me of sleeping with a friend who made a move on me that past weekend. I asked here for any other possible explanations for what might have happened besides the obvious, and for advice on how to prove to him that I didn't have sex with that kid. Everyone here told me I was out of my mind to think it was anything else, and that it didn't matter what he thought of me, that he was violating my privacy and that there were no other possibilities. I realized y'all were right, and I came up with a plan. I met my boyfriend in a diner and got there early and told the waitress what was about to go down. I then set my laptop up with all the evidence I had amassed and waited for him to show up. When he got there, he was combative and initially tried to accuse me of sleeping with that kid again. But I effectively took over the conversation pretty quickly and set into my speech. I took him through every piece of evidence that incriminated him, of which there is a lot, asked him if he still thought that he was being framed, and he denied it a few more times. At that point, I told him that in our state, what was happening constitutes 4th-degree felony stalking. There was too much evidence for it to all be technical glitches at this point, so either he was stalking me or someone else was stalking the both of us. I told him this was his last chance to come clean to me, or if he still said it wasn't him, we were going to go get in my car, drive to the police station, and turn the case over to a detective, at which point it will be investigated, and whoever did it will be charged. I told him that once I turn it over to the police, however, it's out of my hands how it gets handled, and there will be consequences for whoever did it. He said that he wasn't going to the police station and said again that he didn't do it. So I stood up, put on my coat, and said we were going to see a detective and file a report right there, because those were his only options left. He pulled me back down to the table, and finally confessed. It was him. It started 2 years ago, 7 months before we even started dating. We were casually involved at that point and friends, but not dating or exclusive. He said it started because he wanted to know whether I liked him, and it and I became an obsession for him. He has checked it multiple times a day, every day for our entire relationship, including when I was with him. He read all my messages, which I save through the app, as I use it as my main form of communication for a lot of friends, gone through my photos and kept tabs on who I was talking to. The conversation was terrifying. It was like I didn't know him. He was cold, cruel, and didn't seem even the smallest bit remorseful. He tried to blame it on me quite a few times, then blamed it on his trust issues, then blamed it on himself being fucked in the head. It was so unbelievably out of character for him that I would have thought this was his shitty audition tape for an episode of SVU and said was a bad performance if I hadn't lived it myself. He also tried to manipulate me into not going to the police or any of our mutual friends, citing that he had nothing in his life, except me. But I guess that didn't matter so much. He said that I could just move on from this, whereas he would have to live with this for the rest of his life, which should already be punishment enough. He then tried to tell me that I owed him not to tell anyone else, because I ruined his life when I gave him an STD, which I got when I was attacked by a former friend, which was easily cured and which we discussed at length, where he reassured me that it wasn't my fault. Oh, and he knew that I didn't sleep with that guy, because he read my conversation with him wherein he said, "Hey, I'm sorry about last night. I didn't know you had a boyfriend, and I never would have tried to make a move on you if I had known." He just said that to try to make me defensive and so flustered about something else that I dropped my investigation into the Snapchat thing. He even quoted my own conversations back at me. I made him sign a paper where he wrote out what he did, just in case he wants to go back on his word later. Then I left. So it's over now. I've blocked him on everything. I actually cried when I blocked his number, sad as that is. All that's left is to move on. I'm debating on whether to tell our mutual friends or not because, honestly, I'm resentful that he tried to manipulate me into not doing so, and I don't feel like I owe him anything at this point. Anyways, thanks for all your help. Edit. Holy shit, this is a turnout. I went to bed last night and worked today, expecting to see a few responses. I mostly just updated because I hate when people don't update. Thank you so much to everyone for all the support. I've taken the advice of most people here and told a few trusted friends. Their response has been kinda disappointing, sort of a boys will be boys mentality of, well, now you know you're better apart than together, just give it time. I'm hoping they'll come around. I understand that it's really hard to reconcile such a psycho thing with someone you care about, and like I said, this was so out of character for my ex. For now, I'm not going to go to the police because I don't think I could handle that right now. I go to school 400 miles away from my hometown. I wouldn't be able to come back and forth often to deal with an investigation, and I just don't think I could deal with the emotional strain of having aggressive strangers tear my life the rest of the way apart. But I have changed all my passwords, done force logout where applicable, and saved all the evidence against my ex on a few different locations. My ex got my password because he saw me sign into something once when we were hanging out and remembered the password I used. Once he had it forever. To all the people who called me out or had questions about the STD, shout out to the guy who said I belonged in prison. I'll tell the story. Mods, sorry if this violates rules. Over 2 years ago, I had only been with my ex. He's actually the only person I've ever been with. We weren't dating at the time, just casually hooking up. One night over a break home from school, I went to my former best friend's house to catch up. I had 2 drinks and passed out, which I thought I was just tired, but now I suspect I was drugged. I slept on his couch that night, just the 2 of us. I woke up the next morning kind of sore, but didn't really think anything of it. Went home and didn't think of it again. 2 months later, another friend came to me and told me that she had fallen asleep at that friend's house just days before I did, that he had spiked her drink, and she had woken up in the middle of the night to him having screw with her. She froze, left when he went back to sleep, went to the hospital, got a kit done, and tried to move on with her life. She never went to the police because this friend's family is very involved with the police in our area, and police response to screw is a joke anyways. She told me because I was going to visit him and she wanted me to be safe. I tried to support her as best I could and cut that friend off, but it didn't occur to me that anything could have happened to me. Months later, I came up positive for chlamydia on a routine STD check by my OB-GYN. That's when I put all the facts together and realized what happened, although I never got closure or a sure answer. I always used protection with my ex, but that doesn't guarantee anything. I didn't knowingly give him an STD or even know that I had it. Chlamydia is curable with a single antibiotic, and there were no lasting physical effects on either of our lives. Anyways, thanks so much to everyone who expressed support. This has been an overwhelming and difficult time, and the reassurance from folks here has really made the difference on how I've been able to wrap my head around this. Story 2. I am an embarrassment to my family and my mother has given up on me. I know this is a community for parenting, but I don't know where to go, and this is a big community. Some quick backstory is I am 15 years old, turning 16 in 2 months, in grade 11. And my parents are divorced. I live with my mom, who I moved to Canada with 2 years ago, while my dad lives in Africa still. I still talk to him, and my mom brings him up to discipline me when I do bad. Grade 11 started a month ago, and it has been tough already. I have biology, anthropology, gym, and comtech, but I only need to talk about the first two. My mom was already very mad that I took anthro over something she wanted. So since the start of the semester, she has already been upset with me, but it just keeps on getting worse in my life right now. Whenever I skip a class for whatever reason, it is never a good reason, my mom gets pissed and tells my dad, which doesn't go well for me. In the first biology unit, I did terribly, so my mom gets mad at me for that now, and after she's done talking to me, I hear her crying behind my door. This was the first time I experienced that, and it didn't feel good. Over the past month, the way she talks to me has changed. The way she looks at me, the way she talks about me is all different. It led me to feel like she regretted having me. I hated the feeling, and she at this time brings up how she thinks there's a problem with me mentally and how she doesn't believe I am a part of this family. Now this week, I believe I have hit rock bottom mentally. So I skipped my biology test yesterday for a dumb reason, but I didn't have a calculator, and our teacher before said, "You will fail if you don't have one." So I skipped it in hopes he will let me do it today. He emails my mom, and at this point she doesn't want to talk to me or look at me. That shattered everything I thought I had left in my mental state. Today, I know stupidly I skip anthro because I wasn't done my presentation we were doing today, and my teacher tells me he is not letting me do the test and will just put it as an incomplete. Now, about 10 to 15 minutes ago, I hit rock bottom in my mind. My mom goes on how I am, an embarrassment to my name and her, how no one cares about me and no one ever will. She won't give me anything besides a meal and a shelter. She will take her and my sister, who goes to uni, and move wherever they want and pull me out of my school because I am still a minor. She implied that when I am 18, I am out of her life. She hates me, is disappointed in me, and gives up on me. That is my reality with my mother. Please don't give me a, "She's your mother, she will always love you." I haven't heard my mom say I love you in years. Also, she has always, since as long as I can remember, she has always liked my sister more than me. I haven't gotten a hug from her either since we moved to Canada. I know that it is really only my fault, and I want it to be known. I didn't write this for sympathy, but rather to just find somewhere to tell another human about how I feel finally. Now, how I feel is terrible, lost, and weak. I hate myself, and I hate how in the morning I will go to school and smile and laugh with people at my school, acting like I don't feel useless and nothing more than a burden. I feel too weak to think, and I know what to do, and that is just do the work and go to class, but I think it is safe to say that is too little too late. She's done with me. As for my dad, he's probably sleeping right now and will wake up to the disappointment of his son, wondering the same as my mom. How did this happen? Sometimes in class, at home, on the bus, I just think, and thinking makes me want to cry. I haven't cried in a while, and I don't feel I deserve to. But for all the parents hopefully reading this, I hope your child doesn't end up like me. I cried typing that.